Hello again, fellow Americans. Sorry I haven't showered. Life is rough. It's too hot and sweaty for me to shower because then I'll just be sweating again. And I'm in a hurry. I don't have the luxury of paying people to write my scripts for me. I'm not Rudy Giuliani or Hillary Clinton. I do not have the luxury of spending all day shaking hands and kissing babies like Rudy Giuliani and Hillary Clinton. So please, forgive my appearance, my unkempt appearance. Today, let's talk about, let's see, there's so many Giuliani scandals. Let's do, Rudy Giuliani said he shrunk the size of government, just like Bush said he did when he created the Office of Homeland Security, the largest expansion of government in human history. You know, one thing about politicians is they usually do the opposite of what they say. Some people can't figure that out. A lot of Republicans are really dumb. Rich Lowry, New York Post writer, retarded. Bill O'Reilly, retard. He thinks politicians don't lie. John Podhoretz, the New York Post, says politicians don't lie. Even a fucking retarded moron knows that politicians lie. The New York Post can't figure it out. Let's talk about this. Here's an example of what Giuliani and a lot of Republicans do. They privatize government services. What nobody does is they don't do the homework. Now, Giuliani says, let's give you a figure, because I don't have the exact figures, and with Rudy's figures, you never know which ones are real and which ones aren't, because usually they aren't real. Let's say the city of New York City employs 300,000 workers. Okay, it's a city of 8 million residents. Let's say it's 300,000 workers. It's a huge staff. Giuliani would say, I reduced it to 200,000. But if you ask him how he did this, so I privatized government services. Okay, so what does that mean, Giuliani? It means he hired his friends' companies, like Dick Cheney and Halliburton does. You hire your friends' companies, your cronies' companies. Those companies then make donations to your campaign. But when you hire these companies and you pay them with tax dollars to achieve these services, that's what privatizing means. They get government payments to do these services that the civil servants used to do. It's just a shell game. What Giuliani did was he's still paying. He's paying even more. But they're no longer government workers. They're private workers. They're still being paid with our tax dollars, but Giuliani can lie to Americans and say, I reduced the size of government workforce. It's a lie. It reminds me of Giuliani, how he'd say, I cut spending. In some situations, Giuliani did cut spending. But the very fact that he said he cut spending is the clue. That's the clue. He didn't say, I cut waste. Any monkey can cut spending. You cut spending in the Department of Transportation. Well, what do the honchos who run that agency do and control the budget? They're not going to lay off the top honchos who don't do any work and get the biggest salaries. They lay off the little guy. They're not the little guys are the ones who are working. The bureaucrats at the top, the brass, those are the ones who aren't doing much work. They're driving around in chauffeured cars and going to wonderful luncheons and getting huge salaries and a fucking pension for the rest of their life on my dollar. Giuliani didn't cut any fat. He didn't cut any pork. He cut spending. That's not the same thing as cutting waste. And if you do your homework, you'll find Giuliani lied about everything. It's pretty hard, though, because most of the newspaper articles were lies. And there's not much you can do about it. But remember that. When Giuliani says he cut the size of government, just say, are you saying, Mr. Giuliani, that you didn't just shift the workforce and just shift the dollars like a shell game? But more importantly, because maybe I'm making this all up, right? I want you to contact Giuliani partners Sonny Mandel or the Giuliani campaign and say there's a guy on YouTube named Christopher who keeps posting videos with details that make you look like you made everything up, Mr. Giuliani. He has challenged any member of your staff to a public debate. Because if I'm making this up, Giuliani's people are going to have no trouble decimating my arguments. So bring it on, Mr. Giuliani. Either your staff, somebody from your staff will debate me in public, or else you're pleading the fifth. And you're saying you can't disprove the things that's wrong. You can't tell me, oh, we don't have any low-level staffers who can debate you. Shut up. You're afraid to debate me, Rudy Giuliani, like you were afraid to debate me on radio. 22 times, Mr. Giuliani, you and I spoke on WABC radio, and 22 times you chickened out of a debate. You were so afraid to debate your opponents that they had to change the law in New York City, forcing you to debate your opposing candidates on the ballot. That's how fucking cowardly tough Giuliani is. Do you understand that? He's so fucking cowardly, he couldn't debate David Dinkins, one of the dumbest fucking mayors we've ever seen. That's how fucking incompetent, cowardly, and dishonest Giuliani is. That's why he chokes. Because he's full of shit. And he says he's full of shit. I didn't say he was afraid to debate Dinkins. He did. I didn't say Giuliani was afraid to debate me on live radio. He did. I'm just repeating Giuliani's own arguments. And he's my source for everything. Because Giuliani is a complete fucking criminal liar.